Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 episode. You join us today for another episode of Lightning as we're halfway through on the road to Fight for the Fallen and then of course to All Out. Carried on building the card, so without further ado, let's crack on to this week's show. We have 13,757 fans at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Through our dark matches we have the shock defeat of the Motorcycle Machine Guns as Axel Dieter Jr. and David Finlay Jr. pick up a win in 7:44. Axel Dieter Jr. pinning Alex Shelley. This was a 60. To have those words from Walter started to kind of hit into the head of Dieter Jr. and Finlay Jr. We had Take On to defeat Tasha Steelz in a rare victory in 7:57. This gathered a 34. We had Rey Mysterio defeat Humberto Garza at 7:34 with a 619 into the Frog Splash, a 61. I'd say that's pretty good, happy with that. Moving forward, we had Frankie Kazarian in a victory over QT Marshall in 8:30. With the Wave of the Future, a 55, both guys producing pretty great chemistry between each other, which boosted the matchup. We then had the team of Bandido and Samael Del Sol defeating the Acclaimed in 7:41 when Bandido pinned Max Caster with a Revolution Fly. 59 here. It's okay, not horrible. And in the main event of the pre-show, I believe we had Brian Pillman Jr. making his return as he defeated Jack Evans from the Hybrid 2 in 7:58 with a Tornado DDT. 64 overall, good performance there from Brian Pillman Jr. in singles competition. So I started the show with Andrade El Idolo and Ashley saying some words. Andrade talking about, how he wants to make a name off of Chris Jericho and propel himself into contention for the AEW World Championship down the line. Obviously Ashley's by his side and just obviously mocking the women's division within AEW. She says she knows she wants to get her hands on that championship, but she accepts where that is at the moment, and her time will come on that. Jon Moxley decides to make an appearance. He says he's back and he hasn't forgotten that it was Ashley that screwed him of a victory over Andrade. He still feels like he has to get revenge for that, and he likes the idea of Andrade talking about the AEW World Championship because Moxley says maybe we can speak to Foley. You want your hands on Jericho. Tommy End wants his hands in Jericho. Maybe we can come to some sort of fatal four-way matchup for a potential shot at the AEW World Championship down the line. How does that sound? We'll see how that goes if Mick Foley responds to it, but that's an 88 promo for the opener. Our first action of the evening came in the form of El Generico defeating Peter Avalon in 6:02 with a Brainbuster. 71, pretty happy with that one. Actually quite surprised that these two had pretty good chemistry together, but that does result in a fairly acceptable matchup. I then had some women's action. We had Akarashita defeat Indi Hartwell in 7:45 with the Majo no Ichigeki. 45, not particularly great here. Shida, we'll be honest and say it's been kind of like a stop-start push for Akarashita, and I feel like I need to invest in more to get to the level of Akari Hojo and Mercedes Varnado. We've got to get our momentum up here. A good victory over Indi, who's way down in terms of overness, but obviously she's got plenty of years ahead of her to get good. 45 is pretty decent though for where they're at. Then have a bit of a backstage altercation. Adam Cole's walking about like a bit of an arrogant character. Orange Cassidy's just kind of cutting about, hands in the pockets, and Adam Cole just walks into him and he's just like, the hell do you think you're doing? Like, you try to show me a bit of disrespect here. And Adam Cole's like ready to go for him, and Cassidy just kind of shrugs and walks off in true Orange Cassidy fashion, but maybe teasing something here, and that's an 85 opening, segment there. We have a backstage angle with Mercedes Varnado alongside Dr. Britt Baker, Chelsea Green and Diana Purrazzo, all of course part of the Fashion Empire. They congratulate Britt and obviously her success with Adam Cole. She says, what did they make it what just happened there? She said it's cool. Adam will sort out that jerk. Mercedes just says, she's obviously got problems that she needs to deal with. As I say, she'll keep an eye on a certain Bayley. Chelsea and Diona are in action later on, as is Britt as well. So as it just says, collectively, the Fashion Empire can hopefully be as strong as ever. And that was a 49, so a long way to go in terms of their promos. Next up, I went for a promo by Scorpio Sky. I've decided to have on television the rematch for the AEW Live Championship. So we'll see Scorpio get his opportunity. He says he knows how tough a challenge this will be, how good an athlete Walter is, but he thinks he can step up and be the man of the hour and take that championship back. Pretty solid promo, 76, so we'll see how that goes down. Both men off their game, which is a shame, but a decent matchup. Walter defends the championship for the first time, retains it, and 11:38 with the Golden Bomb. 72 overall, 71 and 70 performances. Guys have actually got good chemistry together. Just an unfortunate occasion where both guys just weren't at the races, but I'll still happily take that for an upper mid-card championship. Then have Bayley cutting a promo on Mercedes Varnado, only a 38. Not great, but she talks about, oh, it's a shame that Mercedes lost the championship, but Mercedes wants to bring the best women's wrestling here. Both of them are now in this company. Bayley says it's about time they take over and go for a classic. I want to check. Awful gimmick. I need to try and fix Bayley's gimmick, but I think, as I say, if we can get Bayley in a good position, they too can have an absolute classic, I think. But Bayley was in action. She teamed alongside Thunder Rosa to defeat the Fashion Empire's Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo, and they win in 9:14 with Thunder Rosa pinning Chelsea Green with La Rosa. In terms of in-ring work and overness, Bayley's at head and shoulders above the rest with a 63, Thunder Rosa 49, Deonna and Chelsea a long way to go, but a 56 performance. We then had some tag team action, a decent matchup. So the Good Brothers defeat the Hardyz in 11:51 when Doc Gallows pinned Matt Hardy with the bicycle kick. A 70. I know it's a bit bad that the Hardys keep losing, but Jeff is so over that I need to try and get other tag teams to kind of his level. Matt's not the most over in comparison, but I just want to try and get as many tag teams on a decent level of overness, and the Good Brothers are next in line. But overall, a 70 is pretty handy for where they are in the card. We follow up with a promo on the tag team champions, Proud and Powerful. And they basically state they haven't forgotten what Proud and Powerful did, that 4-on-2 beatdown. They'll get their revenge, and they can't think of a better way to get their revenge by kicking their asses and taking those tag team championships. So making money, taking belts and kicking ass, they're all about that. Then had a promo later in the evening for Thunder Rosa. She just says she's noticed that, Dr. Britt Baker's been getting a bit big for her boots. She's getting a very arrogant. She thinks she's the business. She says she would like to quite happily find a partner and one day chase after those mixed tag team championships that Britt holds with Adam Cole. That's a 51, but a couple of main games because Britt is in action next. And it was in a losing effort. She loses to Chris Statlander in 8:45 by pinfall. At 57, you can certainly see how pairing her with Adam Cole has boosted the in-ring performance, but more so the overness. That's what she's rated on of Dr. Britt Baker. And hopefully in turn that rubs off onto Chris Statlander with this win. Britt was actually quite reluctant to put Chris over, but the cracking of the knuckles had Britt Baker scampering. And that actually leads us to our main event, believe it or not. Trios action, and it was about they had superb wrestling in great heat as we had Adam Cole and the Lucha Brothers in action, and they defeated Pac and the Young Bucks in 21:56 when Adam Cole pinned Pac again with the flying crossbody. So a lot of occasion earlier on with Orange Cassidy, not distracting Adam Cole too much here. A good victory there. 85, all 6 athletes with a good performance there, the weakest being Matt Jackson with 86. Kind of hope that would have went a little bit better. I've got to see if we've got a reason for negatives, but good trios match, given the Bucks a match, which I felt was good because we don't really seem to use them too often. Negative, really just the low morale. We could have given it a bit more time, but still happy with it. Show itself, 84. That'll give us a popularity in the lower region, so I'm quite happy with that as we continue to try and get to Titanic. But a lot of storylines have progressed here. You can start to see the card for Fight for the Fallen is kind of taking shape, and I won't give much away too soon, but you can kind of give yourself a rough idea what matches will be taking place alongside that 60-minute match for the AEW World Championship. And that's what I like, that we've got a lot of people that are levelly over on this now, where we don't have to rely on Cody and Kenny popping up every time. So, a no-stealing agreement between NJPW, New Japan, and WW, so that's Warrior Wrestling. Okay. So there's no hostility, but they've ended the agreement. Oh, that's fine, that's cool. Let's look here. Fantastic reviews for Lightning, that's good. New Japan have offered a contract extension to Kenu. I don't know who that is. Should I know who that is? Probably not, being honest. My Japan knowledge is not particularly great. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Elias Samson's back from injury. Dragon Lee and two aces have won the Trios Championships. We have concluded the deal to sign Jonah Rock. He'll sign in 27 days. Perfect. I've got an idea of what I want to do with him. And Brian Pillman has been identified as a hard drug user. Fine, because I can't send him to rehab. That's not good though. But we're trying to extend the contract of Rey Mysterio. And yeah, well, I think that is a 7.22 TV rating. So overall, pretty decent show. As we continue just on the road to getting that. We just need to really work on Shigoku. So it's up 1, it's up to 45. But worryingly, we still need to get it up another 32. So we're going to be pretty much stuck at large for a long period of time. But if we can get there, as I say, improve the financial situation, get that to about 40 million, I can spend 31 million on the next media for the US, capitalise on our high popularity within the US to make more money, and then that in turn can be generated to improve the network. And the lesser countries, we'll probably hit to Japan first, and then after that we'll look at training camps and all that, so we can start looking at bringing in newly generated or regenerated wrestlers, whichever term you prefer to use. But apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, a wee thumbs up is deeply appreciated. Any comments on this, your own saves, wrestling in general, I'll see you next time for some Dynamite.